In this video, we're going to look at how to use the TI-84 in order to find local extrema of polynomial functions and zeros of polynomial functions. In this problem, we're given the polynomial function f defined by f of x equals 4x to the fourth minus 3x cubed minus 9x squared minus x plus 6. And we want to use the calculator. I'm going to use the TI-84 and not the Alex calculator here. So I'll use the TI-84, find all the ordered pairs, x, f of x, where there's a local minimum. So to graph, I'm going to go to the y equals. I'm going to clear out any functions I have there. I'll turn off plot 1 by going up, highlighting it, and hitting enter. So now notice none of my plots are highlighted because I'm not doing a regression. I'll type in my 4x to the fourth minus 3x cubed minus 9x squared minus x plus 6. And I want to see if I have a good window before I start trying to find the local minimum. If I hit graph, this window's not good. I can't even see my graph. I'm going to go to zoom, and I'm going to go ahead and do Z standard number 6 to start with. And you may have to adjust from there. This window actually is pretty good for me because I can see both the minima of my graph. There's 2 local minima. And so I'm going to have to do the process twice to find them. If you want to see what your window is, you can click on window and you can adjust if you want to. Like I might adjust to -5 to 5 and see if that gives me a little easier time. Okay, so now in order to find the extrema, I'm going to hit the second key and then trace. Second trace. This gets me into the calculate mode, and you have to pick between minimum or maximum. In this problem, I'm asked for local minima, so I'm going to pick minimum, number 3. Notice the first thing that I'm prompted for is a left bound. So I'm going to use my left arrow to get to the left of this first local minimum. So I have a left bound, I hit enter. Now it says right bound, and I'm only doing this one minimum at a time. So I'm still focusing on the left-hand minimum, but I get a right bound on that left-hand minimum. Hit enter. Notice it put in the bounds so I can see. And then it says, guess, do you want me to guess? So I hit enter, and it gives me a guess. Okay, so it gives me an X value and a Y value, and I'm gonna hit the and key there because I know there's more than one. So it says round to the nearest hundredth, so I'll put negative 0.78 for the X and 4.21 for the Y. But that's only one of the minima. There's another one down here, so I have to do the process again. I hit second trace. Select minimum. I get a left bound. Notice it prompts you down at the bottom of the screen. Left bound, enter. Right bound, enter. Guess, enter. And so my second minimum is 1.40 for the X. Make sure you're rounding correctly to 2 decimal points. And negative 5.91 for the Y. Now, if I were asked for a local maximum, I would do this process, but when I go to the second trace menu, I would select maximum and I would do a left bound and a right bound on the maximum. All right, so that's how to find the extrema using the TI-84. Now let's look at how to find the zeros. Okay, so I have g of x equals x to the fourth minus 3x cubed minus 3x squared plus 7x plus 3. And I am asked to find all the zeros of the polynomial function. I'm going to use the TI-84. So I go to my y equals menu, hit clear, and I'm going to put in my function. So I have x to the fourth. Oops. Let me clear that out. Okay, so I have x to the fourth minus 3x cubed minus 3x squared plus 7x plus 3. I want to see if I have a good window or not, so I'm going to go to graph. And actually, that's an excellent window. A good window to start with is always your standard window, which you can get to by going to zoom number 6. And then from there, you can always adjust. So this is your standard window. Then you can go to the window key and adjust as needed. So I'll adjust my X min to 5 and my X max to 5, just so I can zoom in a little bit there. So we're looking for zeros, which is the same as the x-intercepts, where the graph crosses the x-axis. So I go to my second trace menu, and I'm going to select number 2 for 0. Now, just like with the Extrema, it asks me for a left bound and right bound. So I want to make sure on my graph, I'm going to the left of one of the x-intercepts and to the right of that same x-intercept. We have to do them one at a time. And it says guess, so I hit enter. So my first 0 of the function is negative 1.44. They say round to the nearest hundred. Now I have to do the process for each intercept. So I go back to second trace, select 0. I need a left bound, so I hit enter, and a right bound. Enter. So the second 0 is negative 0.39. Back to second trace, select number 2, 0. I'm going to focus on the next x-intercept. Left bound, right bound, yes. And the next one is 1.68. And there's one more to go, we can see from the graph. So I'll go back to the second trace menu, select 0 again. Get a left bound and a right bound. And my fourth 0 is 3.15. So the key here is that you have to do this process for every single intercept individually. And when you're doing the Extrema, for each Extrema individually. But that's how you use the TI-84 to find local Extrema and zeros.